All right, what's going on, y'all? This video here is going to be Algebra vs. Geometry Spring 20 on Delta Math, and we're going to be focused on completing the square part 1. So this video will help you get through this assignment, so let's get right into it. The first question we have is if I have x squared plus 8x plus 11 equals 0. And as they're asking me this question, they want to know what number do I need to add to both sides so that I can complete the square. Well, I'm going to go with step 1. I'm going to start from the very beginning. The first step that you want to do is you want to add or subtract. Take these notes with me. To make sure all the x terms are on one side bring it down, and all the numbers are on the other side. So let's just go through and follow steps to do that. So I got this x squared plus 8x plus 11 equals to 0. This is x squared. It has an x in it. So definitely that's an x term. This also has an x in it. So I'm considering that the x term. Whether it has to the second power or to the first power, as long as it has the x in it, it's considered an x term. So that's my first step. So then my next step now is I want to look at this 11. This 11 does not have an x tied to it. It is not a coefficient of x. So I want to move that to the other side of the equation. We always know the sides are separated by the equal sign. So since this is positive 11, I'm going to subtract 11. So I'm going to subtract 11 on both sides. As I do that subtraction, what comes down here is going to become x squared plus 8x, which is going to be equal to negative 11. Okay, step 1 is done. So let's move to step 2. Step 2 says make sure a is equal to 1. If not, divide. Now in general, the general form for a quadratic expression is going to be ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is the coefficient or the number in front of x squared. B is the coefficient or the number in front of x. So if I have x squared plus 8x equals to negative 11, I'm looking for a in front of x squared. When there's no number there, that automatically means a is equal to 1. So if no numbers in front of x squared, that means a is equal to 1. Let's write that to make sure we have it. So if no number is in front of x squared, then a equals to 1. And this is at all times. Cool. So we're actually done with step 2. Why? Because a is actually equal to 1. So there's nothing that we have to do for that. So let's move down to step 3. Step 3 is, I'm just going to make it super simple. Identify b. So when I'm identifying b, I'm going to go right back to where I was. I got this x squared plus 8x equals to negative 11. A is always going to be the coefficient of the x squared term. B is actually going to be the coefficient of the x term. So in this case, b is going to be equal to just 8. Now, the last step in terms of this first type of problem is going to be pretty straightforward, okay? So let's go to another page. And I'm going to rewrite our original question. X squared plus 8x equals to negative 11, right? And our step 4, which is going to be the last step in terms of this assignment, is find the perfect square completer. Now, the perfect square completer is going to be what they're asking for you in this question. The number that you add to both sides that's going to complete the perfect square. So let's go through and actually find what that perfect square completer is. You need to use this formula every time. It's b over 2 in parentheses to the second power. That always helps us find our perfect square. So let's actually go and do that. We identified b before is equal to 8. So in this case now we're going to have 8 over 2 to the second power. All I did was take this b and replace it with what it's equal to, which is 8. So that from there, 8 over 2, I can do this two ways. I can divide first and then square, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to square. The reason why I'm taking this approach is because when we have odd numbers, we can keep this same approach, and it's still going to be easy to do. So anything to the second power is that same thing multiplied by itself. 8 times 8 is going to give us 64, and then 2 times 2 gives us 4. 64 divided by 4 is going to give us 16. Our perfect square completer is going to be 16, and that's literally the number we add to both sides. So for this assignment, if you had this question, that would be it. Now, this is the first video with the notes. We took everything step by step. Check the next video. We're going to do a few more examples, and in those examples, we're not going to write down the notes, but we're just going to practice the steps that we wrote down. See you soon.